All right, we're going to find the difference quotient defined as f of a plus h minus f of a over h, where h does not equal 0, for the function f of x equals 5x cubed. Now, what we're going to do is split it up into parts and then combine all those parts and see if we can simplify anything. So the first thing we're going to find is f of a, and all this states is that all this means that wherever we see an x in the function, we're going to replace it with an a. So we would just do 5 times a to the third power, and 5 times a to the third power is simply 5a cubed. So that's our first part, 5a cubed. All right, next up, what we're going to determine is f of a plus h. So let's write that down here, f of a plus h. Now, notice that there's no numbers in here, and what we're doing is taking a plus h and plugging it in for x. So I'm going to write 5 parentheses a plus h to the third power. In order to do this, what we're going to do is split this up. I'm going to write the 5 once again, and what I'm going to do is split up the a plus h to the third power into a plus h times a plus h squared. Now we're going to do this part first, a plus h squared. And when you square a binomial, we take the first term and we square it. We then do 2 times the first term times the second term, so that's going to wind up being 2ah plus, finally we square the last term and we'll get h squared. So we're going to take this and plug it back in here. So we have 5 parentheses a plus h, close parentheses, parentheses a squared plus 2ah plus h squared, close parentheses. At this point, what we have to do is distribute the a to each term and also distribute the h to each term. And we're going to leave the 5 out of it for the time being. So let's write 5, and then we'll distribute the a first. A times a squared is a cubed, plus a times 2ah is going to be 2a squared h, and a times h squared is going to be a h squared. Now that takes care of distributing the a. We also have to distribute the h. H times a squared is h a squared. H times 2ah is 2ah squared. And h times h squared is actually h cubed. And we'll close that. Now, we should see if we can combine any like terms, but as you can see, there's only one a cubed. There's only one term that has a squared h, and one term that has a h squared, one term h a squared, and you kind of get you kind of follow here. So next up is to distribute the 5. So let's do that. 5 times a cubed is 5a cubed, plus 5 times 2a squared h is 10a squared h. 5 times a h squared is 5a h squared. 5 times h a squared is 5h a squared. 5 times 2ah is 10ah squared, and 5 times h cubed is just 5h cubed. All right, next up, we combine everything. Now, notice there's a negative sign here, so we do have to put a negative sign when we substitute in the f of a. So, first we're going to write f of a plus h, and I'm just going to actually take what we wrote. Let's see if we can do that, just so I don't have to write the thing all over again. All right, select everything I wrote here, and just kind of move that over. All right, so this is my f of a plus h. I'm going to subtract f of a, which is 5a cubed. And we're going to divide this whole thing by the variable h. All right, now it looks a little bit messy, so we're going to see if we can clean it up a little bit. There's not much in the way of cleaning up except that we have a positive 5a cubed here and a negative 5a cubed here. So these are going to cancel each other out. And what we're going to be left with is 10a squared h plus 5ah squared plus 5ha squared plus 10ah squared plus 5h cubed, all over h. Now we have to divide h into every single one of these terms. So first, let's do 10a squared h divided by h, and that's just going to leave us with 10a squared, because the h's will cancel each other out. Next up, 5ah squared divided by h. This h here is going to take out one h here, and I'm going to be left with 5ah. Next up, 5ha squared over h, and once again the h's will take each other out, and I'm going to be left with 5a squared. Next up, 10ah squared over h. This h down here is going to take out one h here, and I'm going to be left with 10ah. All right, and now we are going to do 5h cubed divided by h. This h is going to take out one of the h's here, and we are going to be left with 5h squared. All right, now there actually is one little thing we can do here, because we have a 5ah and we have a 10ah. We also have 10a squared and 5a squared, so we're going to go ahead and combine like terms. So 10a squared plus 5a squared is 15a squared, and we'll cross those out. 5ah and 10ah is going to add up to 15ah. And finally, cross those out, and we have 5h squared. So it didn't look too pretty at first, but now at least we have it simplified. So this is our answer.